Greetings viewers, welcome to a new video. It's not a JTS but a TFT video, which is something I have not done in a very long time. But here we are today. I do have the opportunity, the time. I brought some tools back from work today. I got a little bit of daylight hours to get this video done. I apologize in advance if near the end of this video things are looking a little dark. Today's topic, as you can probably already guess, is going to be mostly, pretty much all of it on Koken stuff. Not a new tool showcase, but more of a, TFT. That's why it's a TFT video. Some things for you to think about as it relates to some things about Koken, some things not necessarily related to Koken, but before I get you guys confused, today's topic, yes, I'm going to talk about their Wobble-Fix extensions, some things that I may not necessarily recommend from Koken. There's not a whole lot, but I brought one fine example of what I don't think you should get. Koken nut grip stuff is one I want to talk about as well as their universal sockets, universal joints, compatibility issues, or things you should be aware of between their standard series and their Zeal series. So I know that it has been discussed in the past on Garage Journal, for example, about issues surrounding compatibility between standard and their Zeal series. So yeah, I want to touch on that just to make things clear. Some things that I probably should have mentioned years ago, but I don't want to turn a blind eye to it. I'm here to make this, I guess, a PSA announcement because you don't find this sort of information even in their catalogs or in their social media. I certainly haven't come across them. If you have seen them, sure, let me know. I would like to see them as well because I might learn something from it, something that I may not be aware of myself yet. But so I just want to share the knowledge that I know about simply from using their tools, and this might help you out there who might be, on the fence, doesn't know what to get, or wondered whether there are compatibility issues. Let's get on to the nitty-gritty stuff. Why don't I start off with something that caught my attention when I first got into Koken tools, and that is their Wobble-Fix extensions, which at the time, back in 2008, was still a patent that they held. They had, I think it's going to be a worldwide patent, but certainly in the the main continents, countries, they certainly held the patent for it, as indicated, patented. But interestingly, as we look a little further here, patented, 2008, patented 2010. Over here, they didn't have space to put the patented. This is 2014, but by moving in by 2015, for one reason or another, Koken decided to not have the patented on there, and I don't know the exact date of when the patent expired, but that certainly is most likely explanation as to why the patented is missing, and that is pretty much the reason for why I started seeing a whole bunch of Taiwanese, not just Taiwanese, but other manufacturers starting to make the profile that really mimicked the profile for Koken's Wobble-Fix. I know there are other brands out there that have a similar design, but not quite a mirrored or a copy of this exact profile. In any case, I should mention if you are wanting to try out. Okay, before I get on to that, I'd like to talk about how I may not necessarily recommend their Wobble-Fix extensions. Prime example is, and this sort of ties in with their compatibility. I don't want to say issues, but things to keep note of. If you are interested in getting the Wobble-Fix from their standard series, well, first off, Zeal itself do not offer Wobble-Fix extensions, and there is a reason for that. So this is what I'm going to get to. So you're interested in the great, I don't know what's going on with my focus here. If you're interested in getting these greatly formed Knurling, I don't blame you, because these are really beautiful. They work, and working that fastener with your finger works wonders. Now, so you're interested in this standard Koken Wobble-Fix from their standard series, and you're also interested in nowadays sort of a trendy thing going on with not just chrome socketry stuff, but impact socketry stuff as well, where a lot of the stuff is going shallow, low profile, that sort of trend, even with impacts, right? Or cordless or air, you get short, stubby. You know what I mean? So you're interested in the Koken Zeal, 1/4-inch drive, shallow. I want the shallow stuff, but I like the Knurling on their standard series. If you do so, there's nothing wrong with you doing so. However, I want you to keep in mind that here I have a 10 mil, right? And I put it into the fixed position. Something you should keep a note of is how much the square anvil protrudes into the broached area. And if you are working on a nut and a stud, you may not be able to get engagement. So that's something for you to keep a note of. In addition to that, this is a 10 mil. I'm going to place an 8 mil, also from the Zeal series, and I'm going to try to depress it into the fixed position, but that's a no-go. And that is because of dimensions. Even though the height is the same between the two sockets. Oh geez, I don't know what's going on with my focus. Even though the two sockets are dimensionally very similar in terms of height, they're internally the 8 mil and below sizes, it will not go into the fixed position. So that is one reason, or probably the prime reason, why Koken Zeal series does not have a Wobble-Fix type extension. All they have are the standard. That's all you get, and that is the prime reason why. Something for you to keep a note of if you're on the fence of whether to get Zeal stuff and the standard stuff. Another thing I would like to point out is it's kind of a love-hate relationship I've had with using Wobble-Fix extensions, or Wobble Plus for that matter. That's the Snap-on terminology, by the way. It can be frustrating. You want to work you want to work in the wobble state. However, you go to work on your fastener, inadvertently, as you push forward, it goes into the fixed position, even though you don't want it to be in that position. That can be an annoyance, a real annoyance. I'm sure many of you have already experienced that if you have worked with these types of extensions. Not only that, I've had times when I've done finishing tightening the fastener, I remove, instead of removing the socket, the extension comes off the socket and the socket is left there on the fastener. In the worst case scenario, that drops into an area that you cannot see in the engine bay or in the interior, and that is a definite annoyance, a time waster, loss of productivity. So again, my experience with Wobble-Fix extensions is not necessarily the best experience. So if I were to suggest something, even though I started off with just buying 2 Wobble-Fix extensions, I expanded into getting more, but I would try maybe just getting 1 or 2 in your preferred drive size and a preferred length. Give it a shot. If you like it, great, you can get more. If not, you can save some money and instead invest in what I think are better options. Certainly more has more of a better working range, a wider working angle, as opposed to the Wobble-Fix. With the Wobble-Fix, you got not even the ability to set an angle, right? You got a wobbly socket, as opposed to let's see here, as opposed to the Zeal universal joints, which are spring-loaded, and you get to set an angle. That's great. It's really a usable feature. Yeah, so my recommendation is to get their universal joints. And as a matter of fact, I've grown to getting 4 universal joints. So that goes to show you how much I love these guys, as opposed to working with the Wobble-Fix. Moving on to an important point I would like to make is this particular product here. It is their 1/4 inch bit holder, 1/4 inch square on one end, hex. This is a 2137. This is a product that I flat out would not recommend you purchase for the simple fact that the bit retention on this is quite poor. What I mean by that is it just doesn't have the appropriate retention. It uses a nut grip style retention, but with only 1 ball. Simply not adequate. I wouldn't recommend it. In comparison, these types of bit holders with the wider band, these are a lot more appropriate in that they hold the bits nice and secure and snug. It ain't gonna come off. These are Koken 5/16 inch bits. Yeah, so, and a similar one is this one here, also from Koken, 5/16 1/4, 5/16 end on here. These ones, this design has a ring in there, which is pretty common. Has that amount of play in it, which is quite industry standard. This one I have no issues in recommending either. So yeah, that's a clear dud from Koken, in my opinion. Actually, I'm not the only person who has made that comment or opinion about their 1/4" bit holder. Yes, so that is one thing I would not recommend. So as far as things, that covers most of what I wanted to talk about. As far as things that I would like you to be aware of when it comes time to deciding some of these compatibility type stuff. Oh, I forgot to mention with... So I talked about the 1/4" drive and compatibility with their Zeal sockets. As it relates to the 3/8 drive, it's not as big of an issue. Here I have a 10mm. It goes about halfway into the square section of that extension, so you're not getting full engagement. When it comes down to, or up to a 13mm, you got no issue. Very little protrusion there. It's not going to hamper your ability to make full engagement on that hex fastener. But I think it's fair to say that anything under a 10mm is going to be the same, where you only get half engagement. Sorry about the focusing here, it's not working the greatest. Yeah, I think that's it. If I were to point one other thing, not really something for you viewers to be mindful of, but this is just an observation that I have made, on focusing on this older... Sorry about the lighting, I'm working with very little lighting here, but here's a nut grip socket from 1993 versus a more current production. This is from 2020. You can notice the height difference. They're both 10mm, but we got a few millimeter height difference. And I just wanted to, my observation, I wish that Koken still makes their 1/4" drive nut grips in the old standard. The height difference actually made a difference. It was either I get like 3/4 engagement on the nut that I'm working on, versus on this one I'm only getting like 1/4 or not even in the worst case, right? Just a few millimeter difference can make that difference. I just have a few sockets here next to it, just to sort of show the relationship in height. This is a snap-on socket, 10mm. This is a 9mm, but just to sort of show the difference in height. Stanley 9mm snap-on. I don't know how old this one is, but certainly the snap-on and the Koken of that vintage shares very similar height. I should also add this one, which is Koken's surface drive. This is from 2010, and that fits in there pretty well in terms of height. So at least for some manufacturers, and maybe depending on the era, that was a standard 1/4" drive 10mm height. But I guess in current days, things have changed a little bit. 10mm, 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 10mm. Obviously the nut grip, we got here the Nepros, we got here a KTC and the Nepros Zeal. Sorry, not Nepros, Zeal, Koken Zeal. So there it is. That's all I got here for today. Wow, 19 minutes, and just barely light enough to finish this off with a TFT video. Mainly focusing on Koken stuff and their incompatibility, universal joint, how I prefer that over the Wobble-Fix. Yes, and the one dud that I wanted to mention about. There we go. You guys have a good one. This is probably going to be the last one for 2021. See you in 2022.